והרינו והרינו בבניונוי ושמחנו ושמחנו בסיכונוי ואושיב כהנים לבוא תוסו ולווים לשירום ולזמרום ואושיב ישראל לנוויה הוי והרינו והרינו בבניונוי ושמחנו ושמחנו היי בסיכונוי ואושיב כהנים לבוא תוסו ולווים לשירום ולזמרום ואושיב ישראל
Hello everyone, today is Rosh Chodesh Av, which is also the beginning of the 9 days. Indeed, the Gemara actually brings up this date amongst all the dates of the year and says, Mishenichnas Av, once the month of Av comes in, Mima'atin Besimcha, we actually diminish our general joy. And my question is a very simple one. How come, at least on Rosh Chodesh, the 9 days shouldn't have started? And indeed, there are Spartim that start all their restrictions of the 9 days as per their minhag from today, the 1st of Av. But Rosh Chodesh is a day that Hesped, eulogies are forbidden. It's a day we say Hallel, we say Musaf. It's not appropriate to start our mourning or to at least upgrade it to the next level. But how come Rosh Chodesh does not in any which way nullify the 9 days? And I'd like to give 2 answers. Number 1. Rosh Chodesh for us means nothing. The only thing Rosh Chodesh means for us, without a Beit HaMikdash, without a temple, is that davening is longer. But outside of that, it has absolutely no significance for anyone. And from this perspective, maybe that's why we actually upgrade our mourning practices on Rosh Chodesh Av, because if there's any day in which we understand right in the face that we don't have a Beit HaMikdash, and therefore things have changed dramatically, then it's Rosh Chodesh. Instead of it being a full-fledged holiday as it was in the temple, we have nothing today. We have a longer davening in which we talk about what once was, and that's about it. And therefore, it's dafka on Rosh Chodesh, when it hits you right in the face of what was versus what is, that we upgrade our mourning. But I'd like to give a second answer as well. In the laning this morning, we said something we never say in any of the Musafs that we read about. Instead of saying, "Si'ir chatat echad lechaper aleichem," you bring this sin offering in order to atone for you, namely atone for sins that you did. It says, "Si'ir izim echad lechatat laHashem." It's a sin offering for God. And indeed, our sages said, God says, bring a sin offering for me, because I did an Aveira. What was my Aveira? I made the moon smaller. It used to be 2 big things in the sky, the sun and the moon, and God made the moon smaller, as we all know the story. Rosh Chodesh should have been a day in which we look back and say, what can we do better? It should have been a day of introspection, just like Rosh Hashanah is. Every month, Rosh Chodesh should have been.
So if God said that it's a day of atonement for me, then we who are obligated in the halachta b'drachav to imitate the ways of God, it should be a time of atonement for us. And indeed, throughout the generations, everyone viewed Rosh Chodesh as a time of atonement. Let's go all the way back to the 13th century, to the Orchot Chaim, the famous Rav Aharon Milunil, the Ra'ah, who says that according to HaChacham Bala Melamed B'Shem Chacham Rabbi Yehuda Levi, Ki kinui toldotam Shav el HaChodashim, when we say in Musaf, Zman kapara lechol toldotam, it means for the month. Ratzal Omar, Ki olad Rosh Chodesh et haba al kol toldot Yemei HaChodesh, ulefikach kara Rosh Chodesh Zman kapara. The Ola sacrifice that we brought on Rosh Chodesh was an atonement for all the days of that month, and therefore Rosh Chodesh is called a time of atonement. About a century later, the Leket Yosher was a Talmud Muvhak of the Trumat Hadeshen. Rav Yosef ben Moshe, 1423 to 1490, recorded in the Leket Yosher everything his Rebbe did. What does he say about the Trumat Hadeshen? He says, Mishanahek lihitanot bechol erev Rosh Chodesh, mitaneh be'erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar, afagav dadayin nisanu. Whoever has the minhag to fast on every erev Rosh Chodesh, known to us as Yom Kippur Katan, should do it even in Nisan, going into Iyar, even though in Nisan we don't fast. And indeed, the Shlah, the famous Shnei Luchot HaBrit, Rav Horvitz, comes along generations later and says that there's different times that are open before God for atonement. And one of them is B'chol Erev Rosh Chodesh Nikra Yom Kippurim Katan Sheyeh Gam Chazarat HaAnafim Limkoran. The day before Rosh Chodesh is a time for atonement. Now this didn't make it into the Shulchan Aruch proper, but it made it into one of the Nosei Kelim, one of the interpretations. The Pre-Chodesh, Chizkiyahu di Silawa, his year is 1656 to 1696, he says that there are Anshe Maaseh that fast on every Erev Rosh Chodesh, B'shvil mi'ut hayareach, because God made the moon smaller, namely following in the ways of God, who says, I need an atonement, so obviously we need an atonement too. And the Haram Cordova called it a Yom Kippurim Katan, Lefi shebo mikaprim avanot shel kol hachodesh, Dumya deseir Rosh Chodesh. Just like God tells us to bring that seir for him, so too it's a zman kapara lechol toldotam for us, quoting our Ochot Chaim. If that's the case, I throw out the question. Have you seen anyone today say, it's Rosh Chodesh, it's time for introspection? It's Rosh Chodesh Av, leading into Tisha B'Av. It's a time to take to heart the famous words of the Rambam that says that all these fast days are there in order for us to do tshuva, to repent? Or
if you look around, I'm not so sure in any of the posts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or in any of the news today, someone actually came and said, you know, I can do a little better. I did a few things wrong. And therefore I can actually come along and say, it's a good day to start anew. It's a good day to maybe change a little bit, to tweak the way I've been going. Since, unfortunately, that has been lost. I don't know anyone that actually does that. Maybe that's the reason why we upgrade our mourning. If indeed we take these days as a means to get better, as a means to look back and say, what have we done wrong and what can we do better for the future? Not look at others and say they did wrong, but what did we do wrong personally? Looking in the mirror, not in the window, then maybe indeed Rosh Chodesh will be a day without mourning. But until that happens, I'm pretty sure Rosh Chodesh will remain a day in which we mourn. We mourn for the fact that Jews in general are not willing to do that each and every month. It's an opportunity lost, and in my humble opinion, all we need to do is look at the laning. If God's willing to say, I did something wrong, then all the more so we can look in the mirror and say, we can do better. So I hope on this Rosh Chodesh Av, it will be the last that will be an upgrade of our mourning. We will hopefully have a temple where it would be a nice, full-fledged holiday. And it will also be a day in which the Jewish people very simply look in the mirror and say, what can I do better? And when that happens, I hope and pray that this Rosh Chodesh Av will be not a day in which mourning is upgraded, but hopefully a day in which mourning is downgraded.
והושב כהנים לעבודו ולווים לשירום ולזמרום והושב ישראלים ויהי